Alright, so welcome to my next tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to go over the one modifier that I actually use. So I've worked a little bit on the headache rack since then. Obviously you can see I've raised it. This is all I've done. So in order to use the modifier, you first have to make sure that you have an edge, one middle edge line. So I'm just going to make sure that's all around. To do edge select, so select in a loop, you hold the Alt button and then you right click, and as you can see you can select multiple lines. You can, if you hold shift, you can select multiple loops. And from here, I mean, you can scale them, you can do a whole bunch of nice things. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So to do the mirror, you select one whole side. So I'm going to turn it into ISO. I'm going to make faces invisible. This just allows me to select verts and lines under faces. So I'm going to select all of them. And you don't want to select the verts in the middle. If you select the verts in the middle, it will delete those as verts you do not want. So I'm going to select X to delete, then vertices. I can also select edges. This would do the same thing, but it would just leave polys anyways, which you might as well just select vertices. And there we go. I have successfully made half a headache rack. To get into the modifier mode, you select the wrench, select your modifier in this drop down, go down to mirror, and make sure it's on the select axis, or on the correct axis. As you can see, you can have all of the axis, but because this is on the X axis we want to mirror, we do that. Now, as you can see, we have the clipping mode. What the clipping mode does is it extends, basically it makes it so that the edges never split. I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna turn off clipping mode, and as you can see, the edges split. I like clipping mode just because it keeps things tidy. And if you've watched my other video, you know I like tidy meshes. I don't like messy. I was trained in a professional environment, and meshy messes, it's not good, it's unprofessional, and it's just ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. So I'm gonna create a light brown. So to do this, I'm going to create a quick extrude. I'm probably gonna shorten that a little bit, start to there. Shorten this a little bit. Probably gonna bring it to about there. Now I'm going to select make faces visible again. This will prevent me from selecting a face behind. Do E to extrude, ESC to cancel, S to scale, and scale it down a little bit. Bring it back up. E to extrude, and there we go. We have a primitive light rack. As you can tell, I'm not putting much detail in this headache rack yet. I'm just getting it all meshed out. Now, because I want to make this complicated, I'm going to select this face, S to scale. I'm going to do it this way. Edge loop right there. E to extrude. Drag, and there we go. I mean, it's not the simplest process, but because this is a mesh extruding from this mesh, and it has a possibility of making this right here ugly if I want to add detail, I'm going to make this a separate object. I recommend making meshes a different object when there's a possibility of split ends. So I'm just going to make sure I have all of these selected. By going into vert mode, making everything invisible. Going over, black select, P. There we go. This will make sure that all the vertices are selected. I'm going to separate by material. I'm going to apply. And as you can see, the modifier carried over. So now I have two separate objects. I have the light rack. So I'm going to name this light rack. Light rack. Light rack 01. I'll lower this. I'm gonna face this because this is a hole in the mesh. We do not like holes. Again, a very messy thing. So because I don't need these edge loops anymore, right here, I'm gonna go ahead, select them by holding Alt, then left click, delete, edge loop. This would just make the model not have any wasteful loops. The reason why I keep these loops down here is because this helps preserve something called edge flow. For easy modifying of a model, it's always suggested to keep good edge flow while you're still working on it. Once this mesh is done, I'll be going ahead and I will be getting rid of these meshes right here by collapsing them. The reason I don't do that now is I'll show you. So if I collapse this, merge at first, merge at last, merge at last, I can just go ahead and do it to all of these. So it doesn't actually sacrifice the model quality. However, if I go to make changes, like say, I don't know, I don't like the way this looks, or I want to make this ways, I have to create edge loops. And as you can see, the edge loops will be crimped, which just is not good. It creates a lot more work if you're still modifying it. So I'm just going to undo all those by rapidly tapping Control Z. I believe you have 32 saved states. So you can do undo 32 times. I just actually found that. It's not 32. Okay, that's good to know now. So now we get to learn how to repair a mesh. Yay. So I'm going to delete all of these faces. I'm going to select vertices mode. Go back, create a simple face there. Create a face there. Now, as you can see, we have a vert line right here that needs a home. If I just face these, this vert would be free-flowing, and it would be messy. It would be a hole, and we don't like holes. So I'm going to do this, subdivide. What subdivide does is it just adds one poly in the center, which is useful for situations like this. As you can see, that one poly is a little bit out of line. So I'm going to go to above, use the J keys to line it up. No J keys, straight line. Perfect, there. So now as you can see, we still have no faces. So I select vert line, F, vert line, F, vert line, F, vert line, F. And there we go. We just repaired that mesh. I will go over a few more advanced modeling techniques in the next video, but this is about one of the biggest techniques I thought people should know about because it saves a lot of time in making highly detailed models, because you only have to do one side and the other side follows that. So I'm just going to model quickly by putting this vert line here, pulling this and pulling this down. So you see it follows. And there we go. More of a headache rack. Again, thank you. If you have any questions, post them in the description or any requests of videos I do.